Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with CircWorks. It is not Friday, but I am going to do a Fan Art Friday a little early. And don't worry, I'll still do the other regular scheduled Fan Art Friday on Friday. But San Diego Comic Con was over the weekend, and there was a Star Wars panel, and I saw some cool stuff. And I'm like, oh man, every time I see new Star Wars stuff, I got to do something from Star Wars. So if you saw the panel where they bring out this really cool creature, they call him Bobbajo. Well, anyway, so I decided I gotta draw this guy. So let's hop to it. We'll draw this, and I'll tell you a little bit about some Star Wars stuff. I don't know. Let's go. Alrighty. Welcome to a special edition of Fan Art Friday. It is not actually Friday this time. Um, but usually sometimes when I do videos on other days, I'll just do a sketch time. But this is a fan art piece, although I don't know how many people actually recognize it. Even it is from the new Star Wars movie, and I have a feeling that even when the movie comes out, people still might not recognize it because I'm sure this is just like a minor background character. But yeah, so if you have been following any of the stuff going on in San Diego Comic Con, of course, they had a Star Wars panel and everything, and some interesting stuff came out. We got to see sort of behind the scenes look of the new movie, and yeah, so I'm pretty excited. So I was waiting. I thought we might get another trailer, just because the movie's coming out in December, and usually summer is when you start getting trailers. So far, we just had a teaser, but no trailer. But what we got was still pretty interesting, just because I don't know. I think this is really, hitting kind of fans of the original trilogy where they live, because it just seems like they're really going back and trying to recapture just the way the original movies were, and especially with these practical effects. So they had a panel, of course, hosted by J.J. Abrams, and they brought out this creature, this that I'm drawing here. They call him. What do they call him? Bobbajo, which I think is just, that's what kind of leads me to believe this is just sort of a minor character in the background, but really cool. I mean, if you're a fan of just like puppeteering or like practical effects, it's really amazing. And it I don't know. I mean, CGI definitely has its place, and you can't. I mean, there's things that you can do with CGI that you can't do any other way. But there's certain things, to me, still, I think it just works better to have like a physical creature on set, and especially with the way, as much as CGI has progressed and advanced with the technology, so has practical effects. Only we don't really see them as much. I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked. Really like Fury Road, because there were so many practical effects, and it looks less like a video game, because if you're seeing things actually happen, I think it adds a realistic element that you just don't get with a lot of CGI. And of course there's CGI in Fury Road and everything. I mean, obviously, Charlize Theron isn't missing an arm, so they had to use digital effects. But there's certain things that there's really only one way to do that. But I don't know, with like creature effects and things like that, it's nice to actually see these creatures. And I'm a big fan of obviously like the Jim Henson stuff, like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal and everything. And it would be really cool. I really would love to see what like a Dark Crystal would look like with some of the new technology. I mean, even back then it was just amazing, but now you can just do so much more. The puppeteering and just the robots involved, and I mean, you can do just amazing things. If you what I'll do is I'll, because most of you people probably haven't even seen this creature that I'm drawing, but I'm going to post in the description. I'll post a link to a video where he kind of comes out, and you can see all the little the creatures on his back. They're moving around, plus him, he's his nose and his eyes will twitch and things like that, and they don't really open most of the time. I think that's just the character's kind of squinting most of the time. He looks kind of old and everything, but just the motion is really cool, and I'd be interested to see what this looks like underneath. I mean, and maybe we'll get a chance to see that. When I was a kid, we had these making of Star Wars documentaries, and I remember one day, some kid in my neighborhood was like, "Star Wars is going to be on TV. Star Wars is going to be on TV," and I'm like, "You're crazy. There's, Star Wars isn't going to be on TV." Because back then, this was before, there. I guess at this point, well, no, I think this would have had to have been before, VHS. I know we were lucky enough to, like, my dad had a neighbor, and this neighbor was like one of the first person to get a VCR. And I think my dad was kind of in a competition with this neighbor because he always had the cool stuff, and my dad would, try to, compete with this guy. So we were kind of lucky enough to get a VCR real early. But I still think this was before VCRs. But movies, they would come out in the theater, and they wouldn't just put them right out on video like 6 months later like they do now. It would, well, of course there wasn't video, or television. They would release a film. They'd probably wait a year or two, and then they'd re-release it in the theaters again, or whatever. But so this kid was telling me that Star Wars is going to be on TV, and what had ended up happening was this making of Star Wars documentary, and there were a few of them. I may put a link to one. I found one on YouTube. It's kind of hosted by R2D2 and C3PO, and they go through. It's mostly they tell the story and they show a little bit of the behind the scenes, which is cool. But I remember another one, and I can't track it down, but it was really interesting to me because they showed. I remember, of course, memories kind of combine things, and that you remember things not exactly the way they happen, but I remember scenes like they would show how they did like the Foley effects, the sound effects. They would go out to these real like taut wires that were holding up like, I don't know, telephone poles, and they would take a wrench and they'd bang on it, and that was the sound of like that they use for the laser guns and things, or blasters as they're called in Star Wars, and just all the models, and how they would take all these model kits, and then they would break them all apart and cannibalize them and put them back together, and build these spaceships and things like that, and the Millennium Falcon and all this. I don't know. That was, nowadays you watch a documentary, like you get a special feature, really they're, most of them are just concerned with the celebrities. Oh, here's, the latest celebrity talking about the movies. Then I don't, me personally, I don't care about that. I mean, if you're into that, that's cool. I know. I mean, that's when you go to Comic Cons. I mean, that's a big draw, is people going to see celebrities. I'm not standing in line to see anyone really, except for maybe Weird Al. I'm a big Weird Al fan. But anyway, so I mean, that never really appealed to me. Talking about and maybe because I'm not an actor either, but talking about the actors talking about the role and their view of special effects, which kind of seems limited. They're like, oh, this is cool stuff, but I want to see the guys making these ships, and I want to hear them talk and everything. And even when they do special effects now, it's it's a guy out there with a bunch of ping pong balls on his face running around and against a blue screen, and all the other stuff's going to be animated, which I have the utmost respect for animators and the way they can model this stuff and bring it to life. I mean, it's really cool, but once you've seen one, it's kind of like it's all the same process. It's not kind of this Frankenstein thing. You take whatever you can and build, and I've always been partial to that kind of creation, just because I've done that type of thing. I've worked on like television shows and pilots and things, and just the stuff I do on my own channel, and building my Comic-Con booth and all that. I like, to me, there's something about finding interesting ways, or just going to Home Depot or just a Goodwill and picking something up and say, oh, this would be cool. I think I can do this with that, and how can I take that and make it something else? And so those old Star Wars documentaries are really fascinating to me. But yeah, I have to see if I can track down that one where it seemed like, if I remember correctly, they went a little more in depth. But I will put a link to the one, and I'll put a link to the video where they brought this Bobbajo creature out. But yeah, so because of that, I'm be really interesting to see the inner workings of this and how this thing works. I don't know, how many people are inside it. I'm guessing maybe one, maybe the rest of them are, or there could be. Well, I don't know. Sometimes they can have a little person in there, but that would kind of get heavy. Like if there were two people in there, but so some of it might be like remote control or whatever. But I don't know. But it would be very interesting for me to see that. But yeah, so I'm like most people, I'm just super excited. Everything that I've seen come out, and I haven't seen a lot, which is cool. And I know there's probably spoilers out there. If I could dig deeper, I could find out more. But it seems like they're giving us just enough. And as in the age of the internet, I suppose if you wanted to spoil it, you could. I'm trying not to, but so I'm just kind of waiting for whatever the official releases are. And I've been happy with it because I haven't seen a lot of, like, say, the original cast or whatever. You see glimpses of them. I really know very little, if anything, about the story. So I'm hoping this, I'm hoping this kind of be a surprise, and I'm really excited, excited about the new movies. And they're going to do other things. I'm excited what they're calling the saga, which is the continuing story, these trilogies, and the other movies. I'm excited too, but not the same way. I mean, I don't know. They're talking about doing Boba Fett and a Han Solo, and to me, especially with like Boba Fett, and I think this is kind of the problem with the prequels, is the thing that always interested me about Boba Fett is this mysterious character, and you don't know much about him. The more you flesh him out, like in the prequels, the more I lose interest. So Boba Fett as a kid was like my favorite character. Now not so much, because I know too much about him. It's kind of like, Wolverine, he was like this mysterious, no one knew his background. The more, eventually, I guess, a character like that, maybe people are just clamoring to know more about him, so they kind of have to appease the fans. But I think you lose a lot of that. But, and there were a lot of problems with the prequels, and I mean there were some things in there I liked and everything, but most of them are problematic. Whether it's the acting or whatever, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's all CGI. That and the fact that there was so much secrecy with the script that the actors weren't given the entire script. They were just giving lines, and I think that makes it difficult for actors to, first of all, act against something that doesn't exist. Even if they've got a stand-in or whatever, but it's cool to actually see these creatures or whatever. And two, I think you need to get an idea of the whole story in order to portray the character. Or, a lot of the actors seem kind of wooden, and I don't know if that has to do with the actors or if it has to do with the fact that they can't really get that much into the character because they don't know the story. I mean, I think I'm not an actor, but I think in order to act on film, it helps to know the whole character arc and everything that happens. So, but anyway, so that's just a big reason why I'm a proponent of like practical effects, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of them. There's still going to be CGI. I mean, there's certain things that's the best way to do it, but I don't know. I think we rely too much of that nowadays. So. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Hopefully you are. Really excited to do this drawing, and I wish I could explain a little more about my process on this. I wasn't, getting towards the end of it. I really wasn't so happy with it, and I don't know. I think part of it's kind of the drawing on the brown paper. It's hard to bring out the highlights, and some of the colors weren't doing exactly what I wanted. So I almost didn't post it, but then I went ahead and I just pulled out some old paint, some gouache and stuff, and just dropped in some highlights that way. I was looking for some Prismacolor because I know some people that do this technique and they use Prismacolor a lot, and that helps. But I don't really. I've got like a very small set of Prismacolors, and with paint you can kind of mix what you want. So I did go up and touch it up, and I think it came out. You'll see at the end of the video. I'll just show you the final drawing, which is coming up. But hopefully you like it. More than anything, I wanted to do something Star Wars. I wanted to, just my reaction to seeing these creatures. I wanted to do something. I've done sketch cards in the past, but I wanted to take a little more time, and I just thought this creature was really interested, so that's what I decided to do. So Hope you like it, and we'll be back, I guess, next Friday with another regular Friday Fan Art Friday on the regular schedule, and I'll probably go back to doing robots, and I already have one in mind, so looking forward to that. So if you like these videos, please subscribe. You'll see some videos on the side here. You can check out some of my other drawing videos. If you know, hit the like button if you like it. Leave a comment. I'm interested to hear what you have to say, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to you. I usually do. And yeah, so yeah, check out some other videos. Subscribe if you like these videos. I plan to do a lot more. And yeah, thanks for watching. And that is all.